Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Good day, Michael Moore.
Good day. Listen. Before you get started,
Okay.
I need for you to know in
Yes.
front of the viewers,
Yes.
you are honest to goodness like a military general. And I am the worst person on earth at taking orders. That's why we work so well together. Okay.
I am really good at giving orders. I'm really bad at following them. So I'm probably the same as you. I'm like, it would be very hard for me to, someone tells me what to do. I mean, I will do it if I want to do it. Sure. Like if you tell me something to do that I want to do all day long, I'm going to do it. But if you tell me to do something I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
You know what that's called? Doing things that you want to do all day long?
Not listening to what
Your will.
Yes.
That's not taking orders.
Well, yeah, I live by my free will. That's it. Tell me what to do. So
Man, you really should have been born a guy.
Today, we need to discuss the ever more authoritarianism that we are living under. And we discussed this a little pre, and I told Michael I won't tell you what he said, but just so you know, it's appalling. And he wants more authoritarian measures in this country, and it's not good. And I said, you know what you can do if you want more authoritarian measures in this country is you can move to Australia. And I want to show you, you know, I don't know if we've even have we showed any of the videos of Australia on here, but they're getting worse. And I think it's primarily so like Tiana told us there's what, 6 regions within Australia? 8. Okay. So Victoria is where it seems which is Melbourne area, is where it seems most of the issue comes, or at least all the videos that I am seeing are from. So I guess when we say Australia, it's not, you know, it's like saying LA is United States, when people don't realize why I'm fighting so hard against all these mandates, because LA is fucking ridiculous. LA and New York City, I suppose, are, you know, they're just a hardcore mandate central. And if you're living in Texas, you're like, what's wrong? What's the problem? It's like, I'm living my life normal.
I love it. I'm gonna get mandate tattooed across my chest.
That's a tattoo. That's a tattoo you need. Mandate. Just like give me all the mandates, all of them. I want all of them.
I literally go to, like, you know, to the store and I'm like, do you guys have a mandate? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, I won't spend money here.
I will not shop here then. I will not shop here. You better start some mandates. They're like, what if we mandate
I need
that
a mandation.
You don't wear shoes? Okay, perfect.
No.
I will take it. I'll take it. Oh, no,
No.
that one? That's no good?
No.
Okay.
No, that's no good. No,
I'm going to share with you. Here's where you can go if you want to. I got to make sure you can hear, actually. Make sure.
By the way, this doesn't. Wow. Where is this?
Exactly. Wow. Exactly. This is Victoria. He stomps him in the fucking head. You know why?
Damn.
Because he's outside when he's not supposed to and not wearing a mask.
Well, he should have known not to be outside without his mask.
Yeah. You should go to Australia.
That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible.
Oh, that's just one.
That's terrible.
Well, that's
terrible.
what I'm saying, and people
But
watch
Nicole,
that, and nobody addresses it. No, it's actually it's very prevalent. It's happening daily over there. I wouldn't say the stomping of the head is happening daily. That's the only video I've seen of that. But of literally arresting people simply for going outside with their family, arresting people for having masks on, arresting people for thought crimes, for even discussing on Facebook. Literally arresting people.
Listen, it's not just Australia. I literally heard yesterday that Jamaica has an 8 p.m. curfew, and they now have in effect like 4 different reasons why you can be outside your home. And it would be like, if you're an essential worker, if you're going to get food, shoot, I wish I could remember them, but it was basically like 4 things that you might do once a month or something like that. I mean, it's crazy. And again, you can't be out after after 8 p.m. Listen, the world has lost its mind. I don't
Yes.
know. That's why I'm coming to you live from Pandora. I don't in no way, shape, or form want to be on Earth any longer. Nor will I be.
And now, okay, so now look at this. So considering, so, and this is what has me so much, for people who condemn my thought that we should simply be free and say, oh, we need this because people are dying. Okay, well, let's consider that. Now let's look at this. So this guy, Peter Sweden on Twitter, he is a journalist that talks all about European policies, specifically for COVID right now. So Scandinavia, opening up and removing all restrictions. Media is not talking about that. Norway, opening up. All restrictions are done in Norway. Sweden, they have some small, Sweden's never had major restrictions, but they have some small that they're about to end. All of these things. So why, when in Australia we need to do this, but in these parts of Europe we don't? I can't understand the discrepancy in policy and how you can say you absolutely need all these mandates to save lives when it is clear we do not.
Well, I think, and I've said that everything needs to be open, but I'm going to tell you now, and you heard this here first. You're about to see firsthand in America the hypocrisy of it all, and I'll tell you why. Because the NBA basketball season.
I'm going to show that next. Hold on, hold that thought. Hold on, let me show you.
You don't know my thought yet.
Okay, but I'm going to show you something. I want to show you something. Hold on. Let's show you this. Speaking of, right? So, again, I truly have felt from the very beginning that yes, we take the precautions that we need to do in life, but what we have done has been completely overblown, and I believe probably has killed many or more or ruined longer periods of people's lives than the virus. That's just me. That's me. And we continue to double down. But yes, today I saw these two guys talking about mandates, and I want to share that. But you're going to have to hear it. So hold on a second. Let me try it one more time.
Well, while you set that up, let me give you my actual thought on it, because
Yes.
I already know their thoughts on the mandates.
Okay.
New York and California, right? So one of the players plays for Golden State Warriors. One of them plays for the New Jersey Nets.
Yep, both of them I have today. Yep.
New Jersey Nets. The New Jersey Nets actually play in New York, so they're not actually literally in New Jersey. Kyrie Irving, who is probably in the top 3 highest skilled and most known basketball players in the country right now, or the world, whatever, is basically like anti-vax. He's not going to get vaccinated, or at least that's what he stated, right? So because of New York,
I think most of them are more anti-mandate, but yes, okay.
Right. So because of New York's mandates on, going anywhere without the vaccine, he supposedly is not going to be able to play what amounts to half of his NBA season, because he won't be able to go into the New York arena where the Nets actually play. So here is my thought on why you are about to see just the ultimate hypocrisy, okay? Because from what I know about Kyrie Irving on many different issues.
And by the way, it's more than just, you're saying Kyrie, but the two I have today are not that I can show you are not even Kyrie. There's way more than just Kyrie.
Right, but I don't actually care about, like, I understand they don't want the vaccine or whatever. That's not in my point in any way, shape, or form. What I'm getting to is, because of Kyrie's popularity and because of how big he is, you are honestly about to see hypocrisy in one of two directions. Either they're going to make an exception for him.
They will.
Because losing him to 42 home games is losing so much money for the owner and the money that he generates from fans and all this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're literally just going to take restrictions off of everyone.
No, they're going to make an exemption for him because it's about the money. It always has.
Now, if that's the way they go and they make an exemption for him, then there, honest to God, needs to be riots.
Okay, thank you. This is what I'm telling you. And Mike says I'm going too far, but no, there needs to be riots.
Going too far
Before, when I can't tell about what you said about.
Oh, well, that's just because I don't want to offend anyone. But listen, he's putting, and I actually kind of appreciate it. So again, I don't care what his stance is on the vaccine. I don't care whether he has it or doesn't have it, because I'm in a place again where I just don't give a shit anymore about who's vaccinated, who's not, who has masks, who doesn't. I don't care. But what I do care about is I really want to see how New York plays its hand on this one, because he's literally just pushed all in on them, and they need to decide whether they're going to call or fold.
Good for fucking him. And but I can tell you the answer already. And I can tell you, and it's that they are going to give an exemption for him. And that's a hypocrisy.
Just singularly, it's just going to be for him.
And that's a hypocrisy of our entire policy. And what I am fighting against, all these mandates are fucking ridiculous. They're doing it already in Canada. Canada is, Canadian Prime Minister, right? What's his face?
Yeah,
used to be
Boudreaux?
Beautiful. No, what's his name?
I think it's like Antonio Boudreaux or something like that.
No, what's his name? The Prime Minister. What's his name?
I know exactly who it
Trudeau,
is.
Trudeau.
I said Boudreaux.
Oh yeah. Okay. You're right. They're making Canada basically max. They have vaccine passports everywhere, and I guess I should not say again like Australia. It could be in certain parts of Canada. It could not be entirety of Canada, but from what I'm reading, definitely in certain parts, it's all vaccine mandate. But they just made an exception for any traveling ball players. They're allowed. So it is fucking money, and it's mass hypocrisy, and it has to stop.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think? Because I can't even come up with anything plausible that the NBA can say on this, because it's not actually the NBA's thing. It's New York's thing. So what plausible exception are they going to give him? Because literally today, they literally did not give an exemption to this one player who said he had religious objections to getting the vaccine. What are you going to give Kyrie Irving, who's simply saying, I don't want the vaccine? I have to know what's the exemption going to be? Because if they just say, oh, you just okay, Kyrie, you're able to, play your home games. But I'm out of here, dude. I'm leaving. I'm serious. I'm gonna find another place to live.
Well, I wish that people would realize things like you. I'm telling you honestly, they could literally just say they'll give them an exemption, and people will still clamor and say that all makes sense. But
no chance.
Number two, I think what they'll probably do is they'll lie. They'll say he got it. They'll pay him to say he got it.
He won't do it. That's what I'm saying. Kyrie Irving is not that guy.
I hope he has integrity.
Kyrie Irving said he thinks the earth is flat.
Oh.
And stood by it.
Well,
yeah, so he's not.
I'm glad he's standing by his convictions, whatever they are, because I really do not want mandates anywhere. So it takes these. Nicki Minaj spoke out and they fucking shut her down. She has not spoken one word since on Twitter or on Instagram. The minute she spoke out about it, and so more than likely they got to her, right?
But
they
now,
got to her.
But hold on. Let's examine this for a second. If Kyrie doesn't want the vaccine, and he's willing to take money to say he took the vaccine, just to allow him to play the home games and all that kind of stuff, then my thinking is nobody has principles or integrity at all. Because if your whole thing is, I'm not going to let someone stick me with some concoction that I'm not fully aware what's in it or how it's going to work, or
I don't need it. He's incredibly healthy and young. He doesn't need it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if his objection is a philosophical and moral objection to being told, you have to get this vaccine. If this dude took money just so he could play his home games, and we found out about that, I'm not even going to tell you what needs to happen. I don't want any. Well, I don't even want it to be on record what I think should happen.
I agree with you. I hope we really need more principled integrity. Like we really need more of that, of people with that in our lives. And it would seem we have less and less. I hope that he stands with his convictions. I hope he doesn't do something like that. But the sad thing about it is that if he did, people will be clamoring to tell him how great he is because he actually did what he was supposed to do. He did the right thing. If I don't see somebody saying every day, oh, they did the right thing, what the fuck is that? You get to decide what the right thing is for somebody and they have to do it.
First of all, that conversation for me is a non-starter. If you are equating getting the vaccine with right and wrong, you have already started the conversation.
They've done it already. That's how the divide is.
Illogical and silly manner. Listen, again, I'm vaccinated.
You don't have to keep saying it. You do not have to keep saying it. It worked for me.
No, but I need for people to understand. It worked for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's up to you. That's what I say.
Yep.
Because COVID is not the disease that's going to wipe me or mine out if you get it, right? So if this was freaking Ebola, right? Yes, there's an issue there because what you have can kill you and everybody else around you and everybody around them and everybody around them. COVID's not doing that.
Well, and that's
so
what
to
people
have
don't
a conversation, to have a conversation that starts off on a moral level, you've already messed up. The conversation's already illogical. This should not be about right and wrong. This should simply be a conversation about choice.
Right. Well,
and
that's
the choice.
This is a good visual. This is a good visual for that, right? So this is what people estimated their hospitalization risk for the unvaccinated population is, right? What they estimate. So this is people, what they think that if you're unvaccinated and you get COVID, what your percentage is for going to the hospital. And you'll look, these Democrats, 50% or higher. They think that if they're unvaccinated, 41% of Democrats, 50% or higher, believe that they have a 50-50 chance, if you're unvaccinated, of fucking ending up in the hospital from COVID. That's how severe they feel this risk is. They are entirely overassessing the risk. The actual answer is less than 1%. If you are unvaccinated and you become infected with COVID, you have less than 1% chance of going to the hospital. But these are the percent chances that everybody believes. And no wonder why we're in this space, because all the messages coming from our health institutions and our government and people who are meant to lead are simply fear-mongering more and more. And not to mention, the entire system is set up to fail. I mean, massive over-testing, continuing to I don't want to say reward, incentivize COVID treatments in hospitals, which makes sense. Sure, you have to do all these extra things, but the problem is they're incentivizing it to such an extent that now they get $13,000 per COVID. So anytime somebody goes in, they're tested nonstop every day. To the minute they have COVID, they get incentivized for that. I'm not saying that there's mass fraud or overreach, but I did see another graph, and I don't have it right now, but the level of hospital workers has gone up. You know, if the graph is right? Administration in hospitals has increased exponentially. And administration's job is to make them money. At the end of the day, it's all about fucking money. And we can't understand that if you tell people that, no, this is just hysteria and this is fear. No, it's not. People are dying. What if it was your child? And fuck yeah, it would be sad if it was my child. But this is not how we rewrite our entire society.
No. But okay, so this is not changing the conversation. This is just giving another look at what we're talking about. Okay, so you just gave a point, right, where the hospital administration is just going straight up, right, which means people are getting employed, they're getting jobs, they're probably getting good salaries and good insurance.
It doesn't mean that. It just means that administrators are growing and hospitals are growing at a larger rate than actual physicians, actual care personnel. So
right, but I'm saying those numbers are growing up because people are being hired to fill those positions, right?
Mm-hmm. It's becoming more of a business rather than a health model.
Exactly. Okay, so the reason why I'm using that example is because you're talking about it as though this is a new phenomenon in America, and it's really not. And you don't have to look any further than the war on drugs. If you saw how many people in America are employed directly and indirectly because of the war on drugs, you would then understand why it's not even plausible anymore that there would be a real conversation on whether drugs need to be legalized or not. right? You're talking about the over incarceration.
Well, now you're talking too much truth. Now you're talking too much truth.
Well, I'm going for mine. I'm just going to do it.
That's the same thing when I say about COVID, and people think I'm ridiculous. But no, this is actual just truth.
But they're ridiculous. Listen, if tomorrow the Biden administration and both houses of Congress got together, which we know would never happen on anything ever, but got together and said, you know what? All drugs are legal in America, right? So what have you now done? You've now taken the illegality out of it. So you've just killed all the drug pushers and all the money that they're making, cartels and all that kind of stuff. But you know what else you've done? You've just lost hundreds of thousands of people's jobs in this country. So what's my point? They don't actually care about what's good for the country. They don't give a shit about what's good for the country. They need all these people who are getting pensions and $100,000 a year salaries to go ride a horse along the border to look for somebody carrying marijuana. Their police, do you realize how police forces would shrink if 90% of the people in prison are there for drugs? Prisons aren't filled with murderers and rapists and armed robbers. I mean, these are all misnomers and just lunacy by the general public. Most people are your brothers and sisters who got hooked on drugs and got caught up in it and are sitting in prison for it. We're not trying to rehabilitate them. We're trying to punish them and keep them in the system to keep people paid. Do you know how much correctional officers in California make to sit there and babysit people in a jail cell? We're talking people making $150,000 a year, not college educated. Not that that's a huge deal, but I'm saying they didn't even have to go into student debt, loan debt to get the job they're getting. That pays more than an engineer coming out of school or a fresh lawyer or even a new doctor. New doctors don't make more than $60,000 or $70,000 a year. These guys start out at like six figures. My point is simply, Nicole, you got to look at everything as a pie. You cannot just look at COVID, because when it's just COVID and how this stuff is working, then you're really just blinded to everything going on.
I 100% see that, and I'm so glad you're gonna wake somebody up today. One of our 62 viewers is gonna get woken up today.
You know I'm hot. You know I'm hot anyway, just because of our conversation before the podcast. Now I'm just fucking hot because it's too much sense I'm making.
It's too much sense.
I can't take it.
But that's the thing, is that you can't. I think why I'm choosing COVID specifically in matter of limiting freedoms is you have to take your stand somewhere, and you can't fight the whole system. That's where you get, I think that's how we get overwhelmed and stressed out in life in general. There's so many options, there's so many ways to go, and so you have to take your stand somewhere. And I think when you stand up for what is right, whether if my specific space is this, freedom of individual liberties, it expands to everything, and I think that there are so many ways that we could improve society. The idea, and why I'm specifically saying is it is appalling that none of those are even a thought or a discussion except for COVID, which is just fucking ridiculous, right?
And by the way, some of those countries that you mentioned that are actually handling this logically and with some semblance of intelligence actually have legalized drugs.
Yeah, so exactly. Amsterdam, exactly.
And understand, my bully pulpit is not about legalizing drugs because I'm a drug user, because I don't use drugs. And if they were legal tomorrow, I wouldn't do anything more than I do right now, which is almost nothing. Every now and again, I'll smoke some weed or something, but that's about it. I'm not going to get hooked on cocaine because they make it legal. I'm not going to get hooked on heroin because they make it legal. There's no real logic or intelligence to how we handle any of society's mass issues. We decided to lock everybody up that was using crack, but then somehow opioids became a health crisis, right?
But we don't care because they're run by pharma and they make all the money. So, and they lobby our government.
Everyone who was smoking crack was Black, Mexican, and other, and everybody using opioids is white.
Upper class, white.
Exactly. So not even upper class. I mean, it's killing like Appalachia and all these places where there's just nothing but poor whites. We just don't listen. I personally wish that I just had a politician that I knew of that really just cared about citizens.
I want to show
Whether
you
that
one.
citizen
I'll show you
was
one. I know one.
black, white, or other. I don't care about any of that. I don't even care how smart they are. I don't care what school they went to. If they just actually showed that they cared, right? If we had,
If they actually
congressmen
showed that they did the job that
we put them in office to do,
exactly,
and
not
did it
one
without
does.
trying to line their own pockets or line the pockets of the lobbyists and all that bullshit that
But
goes on
can
every
you
day, all day.
understand that that's how I understood this from the beginning. That's how Trump was elected, because people across our country feel that way 100%. But you don't hear about it in the news. You don't hear them talking about it. No, but 100, and that's how he got elected, because people are tired of this bullshit. They're tired of our elected officials not serving them. I'm not saying that Trump was going to, but that's what they felt. They felt that they wanted something different.
I agree with you. I agree with you in part. I believe that was part of it, but in my honest opinion, the lion's share of why Trump got elected was because he just woke up all the racists. He just galvanized all the racists and all the xenophobes that, didn't want too many Mexicans coming across the border and all that. But yes, I do think there's a tremendous amount of validity to what you're saying. But the problem here is just simply, it's really us, Nicole. Mm-hmm. It's us. It's not the politicians, because the politicians and Trump, by the way, which I've always said, are simply a reflection of us. Mm-hmm. It's pointless for a Democrat to hate Donald Trump or to hate any other politician, right? Because really what I'm saying is I hate 50% of America, because 50% of America, or a little bit less, I guess, is why he lost. But that percentage of America felt that he was the right person for the job. America needs to start having conversations within itself about how we're going to get along with one another. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think people understand what the real long game here is. But every day, America is becoming less and less relevant to the rest of the world. The rest of the world is about to catch up to us on every level.
I think you were right before. You said other countries have more freedoms. And at first I thought, oh, no. But now understanding that, Northern Europe, a lot of, or is that called Western Europe? What is Scandinavia? What's that area, right? I mean, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, all of them, right? Amsterdam, considering and I've been to Sweden not that long ago. So Stockholm, it's a major, bustling, beautiful, clean city. Are they already surpassed us, right? And that's the thing about, we continue on with this hypocrisy of how we run our country, and it's not going to be good.
It starts with us. The conversation has to start with us.
Well, that's what we're doing. We're having the conversation.
You and I are having the conversation, but we are 2 of 330
but that's how it starts.
people.
That's how it starts. We got to start, and you have to start with one issue. I think you can't reform a system overnight, but you have to start with one issue.
Almost to that point where we need an overnight change. Do you know what the most segregated day of the week is? Sunday. People won't even go to church together. This country needs to have a real conversation on how to get along. I really think that's where all of this stuff starts.
Pro-unity, pro-humanity.
I mean, we've talked about this, but you literally have 50% of the population shaming 50% of the population for not wanting to take a so-called vaccine that was developed over the course of about a year. I understand intellectually why 50% of the people, or whatever the percentage of the people is, that don't want to get vaccinated. I understand it. So I'm in no position to call anyone stupid or dumb, or you're a what do you call a Trump tard and all this kind of stuff. Like, that's all just pejorative nonsense. It doesn't help anybody. If anything, I would simply just state to people who didn't get vaccinated, look, I got vaccinated. Everything seems to be okay. I feel fine physically. You may just want to do it because you know this is not a very healthy country, and most people seem to be overweight now, and so forth and so on. But shaming 50% of the people in either direction is just causing more division. Mm-hmm. And I think I realized at a point I was becoming the person who was just like, the unvaccinated are clearly the uneducated, when that's not really
It's
True.
not, but that
And
again,
so
that's the media leading the narrative, right? Like, so it leads you to believe that anybody possibly couldn't be smart if they didn't choose this injection like that.
but people need to be more introspective, Nicole. There's not going to be real change in this country until people start looking at themselves.
Well, let's look at because I wanted to show this earlier, like these two basketball players discussing their thoughts on mandates. And so, are these two also not going to be able to play in New York? Make sure you can hear this.
Jonathan
No, they won't
Jones
be.
with The Athletic.
Can you hear it?
What is it about the vaccine that makes you hesitant to get it?
I would start with I've had COVID in the past, and so our understanding of antibodies, of natural immunity, has changed a great deal from the onset of the pandemic, and is still evolving. I understand that the vaccine would help if you catch COVID, and you'll be able to have less symptoms from contracting it. But with me having COVID in the past and having antibodies, with my current age group and physical fitness level, it's not necessarily a fear of mine. Taking the vaccine, like I said, it would decrease my chances of having a severe reaction, but it does open me up to the, albeit rare chance, but the possibility of having an adverse reaction to the vaccine itself. I don't believe that being unvaccinated means infected, or being vaccinated means uninfected. You can still catch COVID with or without having the vaccine. I would say, honestly, the craziness of it all, in terms of not being able to say that it should be everybody's fair choice without being demeaned or talked crazy to, doesn't make one comfortable to do what said person is telling them to do. I would say that's a couple of the reasons that I would say I'm hesitant at this time. But at the end of the day, I don't feel that it is anyone's reason to come out and say, well, this is why or this is not why. It should just be their decision. And loving your neighbors, not just loving those that agree with you or look like you or move in the same way that you do. It's loving those who don't.
Yeah. So, and it's clear, it's concise, it's the same shit that I've been saying since the beginning, and that many like me. I'm not uneducated. He's clearly not uneducated. He's well spoken. He's probably not a Trump tard. He's probably all these things that you'll hear on the news, right? This is the entirety of the reasons. Like you cannot mandate something somebody has to do with their body because you feel unsafe. Because now I'm scared. I mean, that I'm scared of you walking towards my house, so now I mandate that nobody can walk on the sidewalk by my house. Like it's out of hand. But I want to show one more before we wind down. Where did I put it?
That guy was a man after my own heart.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
It's
very simple. You just, you love your neighbor no matter what they choose. That's the whole point. We have, like you said, we have to learn to live with each other. We're getting to this point where we, with 8 billion people in the world, somehow we think that everyone is meant to be the same and that we're all going to believe it, and we're not. And we have to accept that and be able to still get along. And we're having,
by the way, before you show this next video, let me just tell you that one of my best friends on earth, and him, thinks absolutely opposite of me ideologically. And he literally just sent me a text yesterday saying how much he loved and appreciated me and looked up to me. And I just thought, I was so humbled and so just appreciative of that relationship.
Yeah.
And we don't think alike at all. But he's one of my best friends on earth.
Well, it makes me think of the man who
possible.
Of course it's possible. It made me think of the man who he I don't even know if he's still alive. He probably is. The black man who befriended Klansmen on purpose.
Oh yeah, he does that. That's like a program of his.
I mean, that's his cause. Like I was saying, when you have one cause, why just this? Like, that's his cause. It's his way to bring light into the world. It's his way to bring, unity. It's his way, right? And it's beautiful. And how can you possibly be any more opposite than somebody and have any more different worldviews? But he's committed to coming together and understanding.
And by the way, that guy has like a 90% success rate with all the people that he deals with in terms of like Klan, neo-Nazis, all that kind of stuff. I've always actually been a fervent believer that a conversation with any two people is usually going to end with those two people liking one another. In fact, there have been times I could mention specific people that I have just met thinking, God, I don't like them, or there's something about them I don't like, or that person's not going to like me, or something like that. And we've had just a 5-minute interaction that led to a multi-year friendship. Conversation. That's my whole point. If we could have a national conversation, first of all, we throw out everybody who is in power, and that's from Biden to Trump to Pelosi to Mitch McConnell. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. None of these people are for the people. They're not for Black people. They're not for white people. They're not even for rich people or poor people. They're for whoever can extend their time in office. That's it. That's it. They don't care about you and they don't care about me.
Well, I also think it's incredibly telling how very quiet everybody is on what these guys get paid, right? Legislators get paid a shit ton of money.
And they vote themselves raises.
And I mean, so
they're getting ready to shut down the government, but they would vote themselves a raise.
There's a lot to attack, but I think that's why we get overwhelmed and don't do anything, when you just have to find your way to bring a little light into the world, hopefully, right? I want to show this other one that I saw today too, just because I think it's important. I hope that more NBA players speak out. Unfortunately, in our society, you must be somebody rich and famous in order for people to start to listen. So whatever it takes, I'm all for it. If that's what it's going to take, if people will start listening when these guys are talking,
every player, every person in this world is going to make their own decision for themselves. I would like an explanation to, people with vaccines. Why are they still getting COVID? If that's something that we are supposed to highly be protected from. Like, it's funny that, it reduces your chances of going to the hospital. It doesn't eliminate anybody from getting COVID, right? So is everybody in here vaxxed? I would assume, right? So you all can still get COVID, right?
We're less likely to die or go to the hospital.
Okay, but you can still get COVID, right? So, and you can still pass it along with the vax, right? I'm just asking the question.
Oh, sure. And so, like, having COVID back around the Olympics, like that, basically just saying, like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but having it change your opinion one way or another, like, did it kind of re-emphasize, I don't need the vaccine because of that?
No, that wasn't the case. I mean, yeah, I had it, but that doesn't mean I can't get it again, I mean, it's no different than somebody with the vaccine. Like, yes, I developed the antibodies for it, so my chances will be less likely now as well, right? But it's still a possibility I may get it. Just like there are players and coaches and staff who are vaxxed and missing camp right now because of it, so.
So, like I said, unfortunately in our society, I think we just need, both of them are very logical, right? Making a lot of sense. But if you look back at that graph about what people believe, that they believe that if you're unvaccinated and you come in contact with COVID, that you have a 50% chance, and not all of them, but, a large majority of people believe that it's 50-50. You could end up in a hospital. Well, of course they're scared, but that's not true. And that's where, I can go all down the media and how all of this policy and fear mongering and has created this society that will never let it die. Now we're talking about this long train of constant mandates for our children and having QR codes to check it. I mean, no.
So you know what I'm curious about that I've thought about but never really asked the question or done my own research on this? Why is it that all the vaccines that you and I had and the generations before us had polio and meningitis and I think hepatitis, whatever all the vaccine injections that you and I got to go to school and all that kind of stuff, right? I don't know if you felt the same way I felt, but I always thought when you got vaccinated, there was like 100% chance that you were not going to get whatever you were being vaccinated from. Nor do I know anyone that got any of those diseases that we are that we were inoculated from, right? Here's my question about the COVID thing that I just need someone to explain to me. It's not because I don't believe in the vaccine or believe that, you know, it's a good thing or bad thing, whatever. But why is it not preventing people from getting COVID?
Well,
Like,
that's the
why
thing.
are we calling it a vaccine? It seems
We
more
should-
like just a flu shot, right? Because
Yes.
with the flu shot, people always are under the impression like, yeah, I can get the flu, but it's supposed to like not wipe me out, right? So we never thought we couldn't get the flu with a flu shot. But it's almost like they're marketing the vaccine like it's the cure-all, but then they always tell us about how the fact that vaccinated people can have a higher viral load that they carry and actually spread around than the unvaccinated. I just need for someone to explain to me on an intellectual level, why is this a vaccine, and how is it different from all the vaccines that I took that I never got the disease that I was vaccinated from growing up, or my kids have never gotten the diseases that they were vaccinated from, or my parents never got the diseases they were vaccinated from. And I don't think my grandparents got the diseases they were vaccinated from. Why is this vaccine so porous?
It's, well, I mean, there's
I
obviously
don't
a
want
lot
to
of answers.
and I'm not trying to like stir up something. I'm literally wanting to know for myself.
Oh, well, there are answers.
Why?
There are, because it's money, Mike. It's money.
Thank you. I just need to hear from somebody
From the top,
real
it's
deal
money.
here.
They've even CDC and WHO has even gone so far as changing the definition of what vaccination means. I mean, it's all bullshit. We can get into all of this stuff, and then people will call it conspiracy theories, but it's actual facts, and it's bullshit. And that's what's running our society today. And people need to see so that we can change it.
But I'm not promoting, not that you're saying I am, but I'm not promoting any conspiracy theory. I'm simply asking
they'll
a
call it
question that
that,
I
though.
want somebody to
Exactly.
answer for me.
But
Just
that's how
answer the question for
this
me.
is how they work it, though. Now all of a sudden you're going to be an anti-vaxxer. You got vaccinated, so what? You're asking questions, and
Oh my
now
God. I'm gonna get T-shirts made up.
that's the issue that we're trying to work through in society, is that our media, our government, our media that fuels the government, who is led by whoever is lobbying the vast majority of all their money, right, all the way down, they have the agenda to make the money, right? And so they can do that. And I don't think it's, again, I don't think it's nefarious. People think there's some great world reset, and I don't think it's nefarious. I don't think it's population control. I think it's truly just money. It's capitalism left unchecked, and I'm all for capitalism, but the role of the government is to restrict it, except for now they're bought out. It's corporate capture of our government, and now we are led. Every media institute has somebody from pharma on their board or works directly with them. It's all intertwined to this great, huge, wonderful money-making pandemic for them. And if you ask that question, Mike, how could this even be a vaccine? Does this really seem like, don't we seem overblown? You are a quack.
Well, then I'm a quack. I'm a quack, and I have one more quackish question, and it's kind of multi-parted, but I and maybe this is just rhetorical, but I need for someone to answer this for me. All of the people that develop these vaccines, these brilliant people, and I'm sure they're brilliant people medically and all that kind of stuff, right? They don't seem to know what I knew before I even knew there was a thing called COVID, which is viruses mutate. Okay?
Virus gonna virus.
Virus is gonna virus. There's gonna be many iterations of a virus. The flu does it every year, it turns into something else, right? And they try and preempt that with the shot, okay? Why in the world would you try and develop a vaccine for the first iteration of this thing and then tell people they have to have multiple shots to fight the first iteration of the thing? Why wouldn't you just wait and see how it's actually playing out in society, right? And I know that sounds like, well, he's probably asking, why didn't they just let all these people die and da 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 da? No. What I'm saying is all the people that died, sadly, were probably going to die, right? Like that wasn't going to change. They're not dead because the pharmacies didn't develop the vaccine fast enough, and they're not dead because necessarily because they didn't act. It just it's the circle of life. People are going to die, and as sad as it is, it's a fact. Unless you can tell me of someone who didn't, besides Jesus, everyone dies. So
He died too.
why in the world were these brilliant geneticists and doctors and all the people that got together to develop the vaccines, why didn't they like attack it from this thing is going to be constantly changing? I swear, we started this in like what, March 2020? It's September 2021 right now, and there have literally been 5 to 6 mutations of this that they're telling us are like the next one to come wipe us out. They talked about it this morning on the news.
Fearmongering.
There's this newest one called like RX1. I think they stopped using the Greek alphabet because I think the last thing I heard was Mu. We had Lambda and we have Delta and all this kind of stuff. Where is this going? Someone needs to just tell me, right? I'm not the smartest guy on earth, right? I didn't develop any of this stuff. So I need you to tell me, what's your end game? When does it stop?
As long as
I can't
it will keep going, but
shot.
it will, because that's their goal. But that's why people like me are fighting it, because there is no end game. It never ends. People are like, yes. Did you see Biden said now he's getting his booster and he's doing it in front of the TV and getting the booster, and it's like, and someone said, so, what's the end game here, right? You told us if we reach herd immunity at around 70% that vaccinated, then it'd be over. Well, we've done that. Oh, he's like, well, I think if we have 97, 98% vaccinated, then get the fuck out of here. And I'll also answer to that major colleges who are Harvard, even 97, 96% vaccinated, faculty and students vaccinated, 96, 97%, are still now seeing cases rising, are enacting further restrictions, masking all the time, having curfews in the environment at Harvard where they're 96, 97% vaccinated. If you think that there's an end game to this, you are fucking crazy. And for people to think that they are so smart and they know, and yes, we're saving lives, it's bullshit. There's no end game. They will keep going, and as long as we let them to keep going.
Nicole, let me ask you something. Where do you grocery shop typically?
Ralph's. You go to
Ralph's. Okay, Ralph's got a nice little Ralph's out there. Okay.
Not Trader Joe's. Not Trader Joe's.
We'll talk about that on the next episode.
Okay.
How many people do you just estimate? Just guesstimate. How many people do you typically think are in the Ralph's when you go in there to shop?
I don't know, maybe 100. Maybe
100 people. Like,
50 to 100. Let's say.
I feel like 100 would be a lot.
Okay, so let's say 50.
Okay, 50 people, right?
Okay.
50 people. They're all masked, right? Because there's mandates to be masked.
It depends on if I go to Orange County. A lot of times I go to Orange County because you don't have to wear a mask there. But
if you're in LA County, you got to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Go to your Ralph's in LA County.
Well, you don't actually really have to, but they say there's, first of all, mandates aren't even legal, first of all. But anyways, go ahead. Finish.
Okay, well, when I go to the store, I have to wear a mask. So here in Pasadena, La Cañada, Arcadia, these surrounding areas, you got to wear masks. So whatever. Here's what I'm getting at. So there's about 50 people in your store. You guys all have to wear a mask to protect yourselves against each other and all this kind of stuff.
If it even works, which
here's what I want you to do. This is on your to-do list for the week. I want you to turn on your television or go to your local bar, wherever you can get the TV going, on Saturday and Sunday morning. I just want you to walk into your bar, look at the TV.
I already know what it looks like. Nobody has a mask, right?
No. I want you to look at what's on the TV, which is football. I don't know if you know this, but football arenas typically hold somewhere between 70 to 110,000 people, all sitting together like it's coach airplane status, okay? Nobody has to wear a mask. Who's making these decisions?
And why do we accept them? So I was just going to say that about the grocery store. So there is a mandate in place to wear, but I took mine off last time. I'm like, I'm done. 100% done. So there was probably about
But my question,
But
Nicole,
that's
is
what
why is it
that's my
okay for
answer.
110,000 people to
That's
come
my
together and
answer.
breathe
Because
on each other?
until you say you're done, it's not going to
By
be
the
done.
way, in a dome, okay? Cowboy Stadium, for instance, in Dallas, Texas, is a dome, okay? That holds 110,000 humans breathing. They are all breathing, hopefully, okay? Why is it okay for them to come together to cheer on the Cowboys, but I can't go to Ralph's without wearing a mask?
Well, no,
I
right.
want to
Now,
know who's making the decision.
Ask
seriously.
yourself now, is Kyrie going to get an exemption in New York?
If he does, you know what? I need to talk to you offline. Because we got some stuff we got to do. And I can't talk about
it's
online.
just as hypocritical as what you're saying. It all has been from the very beginning. And the only response they have when you say stuff like this is, oh, you want people to die. Like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm done with that. I'm so done. Like, I just go around wanting people to die. That's why I'm doing this.
I don't want anyone to die. And I do not want to wear a mask anymore. Both can be true, I think. I'm pretty sure both can be true.
If a mask actually saved lives, everybody would be doing it, but it doesn't. And look at, there's so many people who have studied, and there's people who have used the data from this exact pandemic and showed different places with masks enforced against, even counties, Orange County versus LA, mask enforcement versus not, and the cases rise on the exact same points as a graph, as this is, like you say, like a flu. It's seasonal, it's up and down, it's not going to be cured, it's not a pandemic, it's an epidemic. It's been unleashed on the world by the very person we're listening to, who is suggesting what we do to combat it. It is all hypocritical, ridiculous, and people won't see. So that's my job. I will try to make them see, because I think once you see, I think, like, you and I talked about this, is like, I think I was born a questioner, right? I was born more awake than some people. But this really hit me hard, because it just is something I can't move past without, because I think once you do see, and you see all of it now, you're like, okay, well, now here's really the answer is exactly what you said. The answer is unity and humanity, and the idea that they've taken this thing called COVID and the measures to combat it and called it selfless and caring for your neighbors is bullshit. None of it is about caring for your neighbors. It's all selfish restrictions that people want to make themselves feel safe. That's not about humanity, and that's not about unity. It's dividing us further. The answer is unity.
I mean, that feels like a mic drop right there. It might just have to be the last word.
Yeah, probably. It's been an hour anyway, so.
Oh, it hasn't been?
Yeah.
Yeah, talking to you just.
It feels like a minute. I know.
Time just flies. It's a little slice of heaven every time I get to hear you talk.
You and our two other viewers. Perfect. We're here.
Like I told you, I watched the episodes like, everyone else. I'm just really wondering what you are gonna have to say and what I have to say. I watch Michael and Nicole, and I'm just like dumbfounded every Monday when I get the little notifications, because I push the button.
Oh yeah, subscribe. Yeah, if you made it this far, you want to hear more of our rants about society and how we're gonna heal humanity, push the button.
I feel like we've already healed humanity. I feel like we've done what we had to do. We've done our part. We just mic dropped on the entire world. You guys all need to talk. You guys all need to get together. You guys may all need to do some hallucinogens together.
Like we said, put a little Molly in the water. Take the fluoride out. Put the Molly in.
Put the Molly in, and Salt. Just fist in the air. Let's go.
Salt.
Let's go. Turn the lights up. Just, the world's biggest pool.
Perfect.
Let's go for it.
Next week. Next week on Highly Uncircumcised, Mike and I will be coming to you from a Vegas pool.
with our teeth grinding and our eyes vibrating.
We're going to share the news with you.
We're going to share the news. We're going to share the news. Drink lots of water.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week then.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye.